Sometimes it can be a bit annoying looking at all the top-end models but then realizing you can't really afford them. Today though, I'll help you find a solution. Because the easy route is of course to just buy a takedown, but wouldn't it be better if you could find another top-end model that's cheaper, but still a very good alternative to the model you want? Well, I thought so let's get started. First up, we have the new Balance Tequila 2s as a very solid alternative to the Nike Phantom Vision 2s. And okay, the upper itself might not be as super ridiculously soft and as sock-like as the Phantom Vision 2s, but it still gives you a great and super comfortable, slightly wide fit, just as in the Phantoms by the way, but you also get a relatively thin sensation on the ball that still has this touch and hint of elegance, but most importantly, you also get a decent amount of grip in the Tequilas because of the kinetic stitch texturing that reminds me a little bit of the effect that you get from the micro texturing in the Phantoms. And okay, the whole build and fit might be a little bit more traditional, but to be honest, I wouldn't be too annoyed if I had to swap my Phantom Vision 2s for a Tequila 2, especially because this bad boy costs 60 euros less at 210 euros. Fourth place goes out to the PUMA King Platinum as a great alternative to the Nike Tiempo Legend 8 Elite. Now the thing is that the normal retail price for the King Platinum is 200 euros, which is 20 euros less than the Legend 8 Elite. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the King Platinum is automatically a worse football boot than the Legend. No, on the contrary, you also get here a one-piece premium super thin and super soft K-leather forefoot. You get a solid, comfortable fit. That's also accompanied by this really light and snappy outsole, so it basically gives you a lot of the things you also get in the Legend 8 Elite. But if you're looking for a slightly less wide fit as you get in the Legend, or you simply just want a more no-nonsense traditional leather boot, the King Platinum is definitely worth a look, in my opinion. But how would you feel about paying 170 euros instead of the 220 euros for a boot that is quite similar to the Adidas X19.1s? Well, that is at least what you have to pay for the Umbro Velociter 4s, which will offer you some of the same features as you're gonna get in the X19.1s, despite not maybe being as good of a football boot. Because anyway, here you get that short-ish woven collar. You have a mesh synthetic base upper material, and you also have this really light and snappy outsole on the Velociter 4 as well. And while, as I mentioned, the X might be better from a build quality and overall performance point of view, if you don't have the money to buy the X19.1, then the Velociter, well, you can do a lot worse. Let me put it that way. Now for second place, I kinda ended up in a funny situation because I really wanted to find an alternative to one of my favorite boots out there, the Mizuno Rebula III Made in Japan, which is insanely nice, but also, well, it's 320 euros, and I guess not everyone will have that sort of money. But the funny thing was that the only really good alternative I could find also happens to be another of my favorite boots at the moment, the Adidas Copa 20 Plus. Because that's kind of the only boot that can give you the same super high quality, very plush and padded premium K-leather forefoot alongside this really pillow-like and extremely elegant touch, which I think you can pretty much only find on these two models at the moment. And the good thing is, I guess, that the Copa 20 Plus is only 250 euros, which I know is not exactly cheap either, but it's cheaper than the Rebula, which is good. And if you can live with not having laces in terms of performance, well, it won't be much more elegant and pillow-like than this. Except for the Rebula, you know, money and stuff. Now before we move on to number one, I also tried really hard finding an alternative to the Predator 20 Pluses, but the truth is that there isn't anything out there just like it at the moment. So if you want the feel of a Predator 20 but you don't want this, because maybe, then it's actually better to just look at the Predator 20.1 lows or even the 20.2s, where there is a lot of value for money to be had. Another great alternative could be the Nike Premier 2s as a cheaper option for the Adidas Copa Mundial, or hell, even the Mercurial 2s, although they are slightly more premium. And finally, if you really want the Mizuno Rebula II Neo Betas, but you really don't want to pay made in Japan prices, the Nike Mercurial Vapor 13 Elite Techcraft is also a great option because not only is it €100 less, you also get the same really thin, premium soft K-leather upper, a very responsive and low-profile fit, and a really snappy outsole. However, if the Vapor 13 is also slightly out of your price range, the best top boot alternative out there would be the new Balance Furon V6s. Because price aside, these would actually also just in general do a decent job of subbing for the Vapor 13. Because they're actually also made with this sock-like knitted upper, albeit with slightly more padding compared to the Mercs. It also has a really lightweight, very responsive sensation and this pretty aggressive outsole with chevron-bladed studs. Now, in terms of lockdown and overall aggression, it's not as responsive as the Vapor 13, but it's still a great speed boot and a very fun and actually pretty good alternative to the Mercurials here. And the good thing is that the Furon is €220 compared to the Vapor 13's €250. So, win, 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 win. So there you have them, my friends, the top 5 best boot alternatives in the spring of 2020. But did I miss any? Well, if I did, hit me up in the comment section right down below. And then, of course, make sure to go gear up so you're ready for when football finally comes back out in the near future by clicking the link to unisportstore.com right over there. Of course, also, don't forget to go subscribe to the channel with the notifications on to see all our latest videos the second they drop. And then maybe go binge watch more Unisport videos in the top 5 playlist right down there. With that said, guys, I'm signing off. Cheerio.